As we've just recovered from spending all of our money on Christmas presents, let's explore some trends for 2025 so we can decide what to spend our hard-earned cash on for this year. I'm mainly just going to be talking about trends that I'm personally excited about. Let me know if you're excited about any of these in the comments below. And ultimately, if you don't agree with any of these, you should just feel comfortable with wearing whatever you want to wear anyway. Before I forget, this is what I'm wearing today. And with that intro out of the way, let's jump into the video. First, let's talk about some specific clothing items. Something I've been seeing a lot are fireman claps or buckle jackets, kind of like an extension of the workwear street vibe, but the extra claps detailing gives it that elevated touch and kind of acts as an extra bit of accessories. The smaller brands are really leading the way with this one. Ronin are working on something like this at the moment, which I saw on their YouTube channel. I also found a claps jacket from a brand called Shinzo, which looks absolutely incredible, and I also really like the puffiness of it. It has also got a hood as well, so it kind of differentiates from the Ronin one. They also have a long coat with the same claps design. Both of these pieces have a really good aesthetics. Another cool claps jacket I found is from a brand called Bronson MFG, which is the US Navy deck hook jacket. Now, there are small Chinese brands with some affordable yet decent quality pieces. Shout out to my YouTube friend Austin, who did a video recently about this brand. So if you're interested in them, do go ahead and check his video out. You know, nowadays China, they're bringing out a lot of quality products, not just in clothing, but also in the tech industry as well. So don't be put off just because it's a Chinese brand. Hiking boots. So hiking boots are very popular at the moment. You know, all of the big players are making them right now. I have mentioned before that I'm not a massive boots person. I don't really have a problem with hiking boots. I've got a few pair myself. They're proper hiking boots from Trespass. You know, I wear them pretty much every day when I walk the dog. It's only really combat boots that I don't really like because they're just so damn heavy. Obviously, from a styling perspective, we've got some fan favorites like the Dana Mountains, the frat cap, and also the para boots. For an alternative though to the traditional hiking boots look, you could consider the New Balance Rainier, which is kind of like a sneakers and boots fusion. Now, I haven't actually seen a lot of people talk about them online, but I did find Shay TV and Dylan Lay, who've both done a review of the Rainier collab with ALD. And I just want to say, Dylan's got one of the most underrated channels. It goes into a lot of detail about the sneakers that he's got and what makes them good and bad and gives them a proper ratings. Now, strangely, you can still get the ALD collab on N clothing for dirt cheap. Unfortunately, they don't have them in my size, otherwise I would have definitely picked them up. So as an alternative, I'll probably go with the black pair with the red laces. Another alternative I was looking at is the Solomon Quest 4. It's another really popular boots at the moment, thanks to the GOAT of footwear content creator breaking them down for us. And the main reason why I'm considering them is because I've got life insurance from Vitality and they give you a discount on sportshoes.com. But even though the GOAT is saying they're fantastic, the reviews on them on the website aren't that positive. So I have to think about whether or not I want to get them. Sportswears, rugby shirts and jerseys. So I've mentioned it a few times before, but sportswear is making a massive comeback into fashion. Rugby shirts kind of sits between the sports and vintage trend, where you're not exactly going to be going out wearing these modern skin type rugby shirts unless you're a diehard rugby fan. But at the same time, what we refer to as rugby shirts nowadays, they're just not used as actual rugby shirts anymore. Obviously, you got some options from the JW Anderson and Uniqlo collection, and Ralph Lauren. They've dropped quite a few rugby shirts designs in their winter collection. And you've got a lot of brands who are developing jerseys with their own designs. And then Keith recently done a collaboration with NFL for a whole line of sportswear for each of the team. Knitwear. So Knitwear have been in style for a while now, but I find that this season brands are really just focusing more and more on them. So About Blank's recent drop is pretty much just all knitwear. Not pretty much, it's just knitwear. And of course, Uniqlo's Winter U and the latest Summer C collection, which is yet to release, have some new knitwear in their collection as well. So with the specific items out of the way, I just want to talk a little bit about styling trends. Mixing formal and casual. So mixing formal and casual streetwear is really trending at the moment. You're seeing a lot of brands, lookbook pictures, doing this exact style. And a lot of brands are dropping ties as well within their collection, which are just selling out immediately. This trend kind of reminds me of when I have to wear a suit to go into a corporate office, and I would go to the gym before I go into the office. And there's been a few times where I accidentally forget to bring smart trousers, so I ended up just wearing joggers and sneakers with a shirt and tie and just sat at my desk hoping that the boss can't see me. So you're ever stuck on pulling off this look, that might be a way to pull it off. Out with the exclusive owners club. One of my biggest pet peeves I've had in recent years is the exclusive owners club design. Honestly, to me, it's probably one of the lamest designs ever. And it's pretty much the only reason why I absolutely refuse to buy anything from Represent, even though I do actually think their clothes are pretty decent quality. And weirdly, we've seen a lot of brands copying this and doing things like Monaco Yacht Club. Honestly, if you're in an actual yacht club, would you be wearing that t-shirt? I'm just glad that Represent are finally starting to move away from that slogan and doing things that are more creative. So I think until they completely stop that slogan, I think I'm not actually gonna buy anything from them. It kind of reminds me of that period when Superdry was really popular and they were sticking Osaka and random Japanese kanji on their t-shirts, even though it doesn't make sense. It's not quite the same thing, but it gives me that same level of ick. Okay, I didn't know they're still making those Osaka t-shirts still. Like who the hell is still buying them? So ever since COVID, we saw brands like Balenciaga, Off-White, Louis Vuitton, Gucci had a massive interest, I guess because people weren't really going out. So they didn't have anything to spend their money on. But now figures are showing that consumers are getting bored of them. And it also doesn't help that they keep increasing their price year on year. You know, a lot of people are turning to smaller brands that are offering very good value for money. And I think this is where a lot of the smaller brands are getting a lot of success in, because a lot of people are just tired of the same old shit that the luxury brands are giving them. And also the crazy high price tags from these luxury brands are just pushing people away to buy vintage items as well. You know, why bother paying £2,000 for a Burberry coat when you can go to a vintage store and pick up something for 200, 250 quid? You know, there's a vintage store called Blank Seams. You can find them on Depop. I picked up something from there recently. You know, Blank Seams, they've got a great collection of genuine vintage items at a reasonable price. So it's good to know a few vintage stores that you can trust on their reputation, because a lot of the time you find vintage stores will sell you some fake items but just fob it off as vintage. With Blank Seams, you can find them on Depop, but I don't really know if they ship internationally. If you are outside of the UK, you can go to a local market and see if there are any stores that will sell decent vintage clothes. So overall, I'm really excited about a lot of the new trends that are coming up. Some of the pieces I think are really interesting. They're all just quite timeless pieces, because if you think back to a few years ago, you know, the trendy pieces were just extreme oversized with crazy graphics that once it's out of style, you can't really wear it. So let me know if you like any of these trends that I've identified for the year 2025, and if you're excited about any of them. And alternatively, if there are any other trends that you think I've missed out, then drop it in the comments below. And speaking of value for money, here's a video of me ranking the best and worst value fashion brands.